Welcome, everyone, to Fantasy Football Hub. I'm joined today by BigManBakar's. And Bakar, we've both got green arrows. That's kind of strange. We're not used to that.
Yeah, I'm very grateful that we've been sort of consistent over the past 3 weeks now. I think it's three green arrows on the trot. I mean, it's not been anything spectacular because they've only been like slim green arrows, but at least we're moving in the right direction. And with the game weeks coming thick and fast, it's nice to build a bit of momentum and to be in a reasonable position by the time the Premier League stops for the World Cup.
That's it. I think we're still sort of trying to claw back after that non-Haaland captaincy a few weeks ago. But marginal gains. We get to win the long grass. We've still got 25 game weeks to go. So we're coming up on like a third of the way into the season. We're a third of the way into the season, aren't we?
Yeah, but again, it's important to realize that the major swings and the big variances are going to come into play after the World Cup when the chips are going to come into play due to the doubles and blanks. That's when the
Mm.
party begins. That's what the business end is, right? As of now, we're all trotting along, heading in the right direction, but that's where the big decisions will be made, and that is where the rank will be decided.
That's where people's balls will fall off, Bakar. That's when they'll start to they won't be able to deal with the dizzy heights of a top 10k, top 100k, and they'll start making really, cagey decisions. And people like us, the sharks, will come from behind and catch them. But anyway, I'm excited for it. Bakar, we've a few topics, a few questions to throw at you, and then we're going to look at both of our teams and how we've done over the last two game weeks, 12 and 13, and then we're going to move into like looking at next week. We'll wrap up probably in about 20 minutes. 25 minutes.
Sure.
So, first question, the big one. I've already seen it in the comments. Shout out Brandon, who was the first in with this question, and shout out to everyone else there. I see you, Harry, Nick, Juice World's here, Fazal, lots of yous here, Yusuf. Saka or Foden? It's a big question this week because a lot of people, made their moves, did their bits, maybe brought in a Trossard, and they're trying to get out of there. Saka or Foden? And I suppose that's a question for me. I'm kind of set on Foden. I haven't even thought of Saka, but maybe I should
Saka
have.
is a good pick, I think. Saka is a good pick, but I don't think he has the same ceiling that someone like a Foden does, especially this week in Game Week 13 when he plays Brighton at home. Um, you've got to take the whole context into play here. And when you look at the context, you see that City have just lost a game against Liverpool where they've had a goal disallowed. Um, Pep was seething after the game. City have had a week's rest, and they will basically come out all guns blazing against Brighton. And what tempts me is the fact that I was reading the Zerbi's comments after the game, and he said that they're going to play their usual game and they're going to, they're not going to be conservative against City. Now that's calling for trouble. I just think that Foden has a very big ceiling against Brighton. He's yet to blank in home game this season, which is incredible. He's returned in every single one of them. In fact, all four of his blanks have come away from home this season. And when it comes to the underlying numbers, there's not much between him and Saka, but I just think that Foden has a much bigger upside than Saka this week.
I am going for Foden. Like that's where I'd be going. I hadn't even considered Saka, but I can see the debate around it. A big thing that people will be doing this week is wildcard, and a lot of people held the wildcard off. Fair play to them. There were a
Yeah.
few rocky weeks there. Most of us popped in 8 and 9, but some people have held for the game week 13 wildcard. We're gonna do a full wildcard draft with Abdul FPL Salah later this evening after the game. So there'll be a stream on the channel at about 10 p.m. UK tonight. It's very late for the channel, but we're gonna do it. So, and then there'll be the Green Arrow tomorrow, I believe. So I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions around wildcards and who you'd bring in and who you wouldn't. But we're not gonna build a draft here right now. Bakar, one is Jesus or Darwin on your wildcard. Would you have either of them?
I don't have either of them right now, but if I was going for a wildcard team, I'd probably pick Saka over Jesus because I think there are a lot of forward slots that are appealing, and Darwin would be absolutely nailed in my wildcard team. There's absolutely no doubt about it because his numbers are incredible. For in terms of XGI per 90, he's only second to Haaland. His numbers, his short volume, his big chances. I mean, they very much mirror Haaland in terms of the chances he gets, and his short volume is crazy. So at 8.8 million, he's a steal. The only question this season has been his minutes, and Klopp did mention that he felt some discomfort yesterday, and they withdrew him as a precaution. So I would expect him to start the Forest game. And when he's starting, he's lethal. And with Liverpool's fixtures, I think at that price is too good to pass up.
And speaking of Liverpool's fixtures, a lot of us will be disappointed in Salah this week. A lot of people brought him in with De Bruyne blanking, and he let us down. 3 points. I had him captain. I've captained Salah a couple of times this season. I don't think I've got lucky with him. Maybe once, I can't remember, but I remember the 9-0. I was just scarred by that. I'm scarred by his captaincy this season. But Salah, there's questions about keeping him, but I think surely you have to with the fixtures that are coming.
Yes, you have to. I mean, if you're not on a wild card, then there's no question really. I mean, you have far bigger fish to fry. A lot of us have Trossard, um, and are looking to get rid. There's the likes of Foden and Saka to target. Uh, so I mean, I won't be using a transfer to sell Salah because I mean, the fixtures are good. He's still going to get points. I mean, it's actually incredible that Liverpool have not been awarded a penalty this season. Every single time Salah's been there, I can't recall him scoring a penalty this season in the Premier League. Just one of those things, really. I mean, had he had like 2 or 3 penalties in this run, he would have done well. But I do expect Liverpool to get plenty of opportunities, and Salah, I'm sure, should do well in the times to come. He's probably not going to represent value at his price if he continues to play out wide, but I just don't think he's a transfer worth making when there are far other worthwhile transfers to make.
Alisson saved a few people with his penalty save this week.
Yeah, I mean, Bowen was very, very highly owned, wasn't he? And that really pissed off a lot of people.
I love it. Told you he was a trap.
So, yeah, but if someone has Bowen, I don't think you should be getting rid this week because West Ham's fixtures, they have Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, and Leeds, if I'm not mistaken, in 3 of their next 4, and all 3 of them are at home. So that's a very, very strong run for Bowen, and I don't think I'd be selling him for either of Foden or Saka this week. It's actually Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, and Leicester in 3 of the next 4 at home.
In Your Dream brings up a topic I wanted to ask. He says Saka over Zaha. So I suppose the initial question I asked you was Saka or Foden. So we've answered that Foden now, unless people already have Foden or for whatever reason, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to rephrase that as, do we keep or sell Zaha first and foremost? And if we're replacing him, Foden's probably the man, is he?
Yes, I mean, if you don't have any other route to Foden, then Zaha to Foden is a good move because obviously Foden's ceiling is on another level. I'm not too sure whether I'd sell Zaha for Saka, though it seems like a luxury transfer to me this week. Um, Zaha is a bit of a tricky sell, to be very honest, because his fixtures are still decent.
They're incredible.
It's worth noting that he's doing well at home. His numbers at home are actually much better than the ones away. So I'm not really sure about his uh, ceiling against Everton. I do think that game is going to be low scoring. Having said that, I still don't know whether it's worth selling him for Saka this week. If it was Foden, then yes, I'd do it. But for Saka, I probably won't. I'd probably wait and see this week and probably move on next week when Saka has Forest at home.
Because I think like Everton, Southampton, okay, West Ham, but in 3 of the fixtures before the break, Everton, Southampton, and Forest for Zaha, I just think it's a very, as you say, luxurious move. If you've no other way to Foden, maybe, but like I don't know, it's not for me, Bakar, to be honest.
Yeah.
The next one is in the same question, I suppose. You've already sort of mentioned keeping him though, so I think we've answered this. But Bowen, keep sell. Would you bring in?
Yeah,
Foden?
I'd keep him. I'd keep him. The fixtures are too good, as I said.
And Perisic, I seen a comment there. Don't know if I can find it in a hurry, but someone was saying a few people have mentioned Perisic, but I suppose the main question is, are we getting rid of him? Is it time to get rid of Perisic? And Trent's back, maybe back quicker than we thought. Clean sheet in the bank,
Yeah, I mean this is a conundrum for myself as well, and I personally don't think that the Spurs wing backs, both of them, Doherty and Perisic, I don't think they're going to start this week. And I've been, I check the fan forums very regularly. I speak to quite a few fans, and the popular consensus is that either of them was not going to start against Newcastle. Um, Again, then Spurs have Champions League next week. What happens against Bournemouth in game week 14 is again open to debate. There is a thought in my head that I want to keep them for the Bournemouth game. Um, But truth be told, Trent is very tempting. The problem there though is that Trent has just come back from injury, and Liverpool have a very short turnaround. They played last night. They're playing in the early kickoff on Saturday. Will Trent start again? Because Klopp rushed sort of Robertson against in the City game once he'd come back from injury, and then he got benched last night. So if he's sort of using the same principle to rotate the fullbacks, then maybe Trent could miss out this week against Forest because it's a winnable game without him anyway. So again, what I would suggest is that wait till the Saturday morning. It's an early deadline, so there's a very good chance that we get team news. And in case we do, then I think that could be a move that is worthwhile. But don't do it right now because I'm not entirely sure that Trent is going to start.
Trent or Robertson?
That's a tough question. I mean, if Trent is starting, I'd go with Trent. Let me put it that way.
Do we buy...
If he isn't, then Robertson, obviously.
Yeah, okay. And Robertson's a good option, you think? A good enough option to go for?
He's not the best Liverpool option to go for, but yeah, he's a solid pick at that price.
Question. Would you, if you're bringing in one Arsenal midfielder this week, who is it? A lot of us obviously have Martinelli and have a lot of value built up there, but there are wildcards picking about and people who maybe got rid of Martinelli for game week 12, the blank, all the rest. Is Martinelli even... Would you be bringing him in?
It's a tough question. I think I would probably prefer Saka for his penalties because penalties are a bit of a factor. But I mean, if you want to use your funds elsewhere, then even Martinelli is fine.
Okay. Any other big talking points for the week, Bakar? Or will we move on to our teams and then do some quick fire questions at the end?
I think we can move on. I think we've covered the mostly popular questions.
Okay, cool. We'll jump over and have a look at teams and how they're doing. So my team's up first, Bakar. I'm on 41 points with a -4. I made a few transfers. I brought in Castagna for Reece James, targeting that Leeds fixture. I watched the game last weekend. When was it? I just remember he was in the box all the time. Did he hit the post or bar or something? I remember just looking and thinking, like, I think it was on in the background. I wasn't quite watching it. But I remember thinking, like, he is way more advanced and way more in the mix than I expected. So I was like, get him in my basket. And he came in. I brought Trossard in. Who did I bring Trossard in for? Bakar, you probably know better than me. Maddison, well done. I brought Trossard in for Maddison, who unfortunately didn't do much left wing back. He hit the bar. He looked like he might have had something in him, but he didn't. And I was sitting there then, that was my 2 free transfers done, and I had Kevin De Bruyne on the bench and was fielding 10 men. And I said, I can field an extra man for a -4. I can get rid of Kevin De Bruyne and bring in Salah. I can captain Salah. And it means that next week I've freed up that third City slot to get Foden in. Trossard to Foden of like 2.4 million in the bank or something. So those are the moves I made. I've got Mitrovic, Andreas, and Castagna still to play. A very small green arrow. I'm sitting on sort of 37 points. It's with the -4. I think it's been okay. Bit unlucky with a couple of the guys.
De Bruyne to Salah and Maddison to Trossard were very, very popular moves. I made them myself. Sorry, I actually made the second one. I had Salah beforehand, but I mean these were very, very popular moves in the community this week, and I think they made a lot of sense. On another day, Trossard could easily have hauled. He had a lot of chances, hit the bar, was denied by an outstanding save, and we did not know that he would be playing as a wing back because there was absolutely no sign of that happening. I mean, in fact, De Zerbi was very vocal in his comments about playing Trossard more closer to goal. So, I mean, these are just things. This is classic FPL. This is something which just comes out of syllabus. You prepare for something else, and something like this happens. It's just bad luck. You can't really account for that.
I agree. I was happy, obviously, Nico Williams, the Newcastle clean sheets there really helped me out, and Zaha. But I think Salah and Trossard the big disappointments here, really. And even Ivan Toney. But look, I've got the double Fulham lads up against Villa, trying to get Gerrard to lose his job, and Timothy Castagna still to go.
Yeah.
What do you think of my chances?
I do think there's a return there from Mitrovic at least tonight.
Yeah, I hope so. So look, I'll show you my team in the My Team feature for next week. Let me just make sure this looks all nice on the screen. I haven't moved these players around just yet. So obviously Martinelli will be coming in. Andreas probably resigned to the bench. Haaland coming in. I don't know, Nico Williams on the bench. And then what I'll be doing is Cancelo comes in. Trossard out. Oh god, this is actually hard. Have I inadvertently given myself benching headaches in the coming weeks? I think I bloody have.
What are you torn between?
Let me see. Wait there. So Trossard would be removed and Foden would be coming in, right?
Yep.
So basically I've got Pope and Trippier, Castagna. Well, Castagna or
I think you
Guehi.
can easily bench Castagna. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but it needs to be him or Guehi.
I think Guehi's playable against Everton.
Guehi? Okay, we'll switch him in. Let's say. In fact, the predicted points has him the same. And then I've got Zaha, Martinelli, Foden, Salah, Tony, Mitrovic, and Haaland. Haaland would be captain. So that's how I'm looking for next week.
Looking well set now.
Yeah, I kind of like it. And, I haven't arranged my bench there, but I mean, I've a bit more depth on the bench and maybe a bit more optimized. And I'm kind of excited for that. That could be all right. I'm only predicted to get 62 points. Game week rating of just 87%, so there will be people better optimised by the looks of it, but I think a large part of that's maybe my two Newcastle lads up against Spurs. But is this one of those where you'd rather play Ward against Wolves than Pope against Tottenham?
I mean, Newcastle's defensive underlying numbers are very, very strong this season, and I don't mind going with them. But, I mean, especially with the goalkeeper, these are the kind of fixtures where they do tend to haul, making those saves. And, if Newcastle scrap or 0-0, Pope is going to make plenty of saves, get some bonus points along the way. And it was very similar to United. I mean, it could have happened there as well. With Trippier, you always know about his delivery, set pieces. So I won't even give it any thought benching him. He'd be absolutely nailed in the team.
Question for you, Bakar. Salah's predicted to score more points than Haaland against Nottingham Forest. Who's the captain? I've been bitten. I've been bitten too many times.
Very obvious. I tweeted yesterday after the game that I missed the times when Haaland was auto captain. I mean, those are good times, weren't they? So I mean, I'm not going away from Haaland. I expect City to win convincingly. So there's no way I go against him. I'm still worried about Salah's wide position because it looks like the Darwin will start again. Salah could be playing very wide. I don't want that to happen, especially in a week where I do think City will win big. It's too big of a risk to go there.
I think so too. If I look ahead to my game week 14, out of chance, I have a game week rating of 100 in game week 14.
100?
Yeah, somehow. A game week rating of 100% in game week 14 and 15. Maybe
it just made the perfect team.
There must be a wee flaw in the system at break. I think it's just like the game week rating is maxed out if you go to future game weeks at the minute.
Yeah, but anyway, there must be a glitch.
I think there must be a glitch there. But anyway, I'll report that to the lads. I think still I'm looking pretty good though. Some really, really good fixtures for the whole team here. So very excited for game week 14 and even 15. I think I look strong enough. Mitrovic has City, Martinelli will have Chelsea, and Salah will be up against Spurs. And then we're looking up towards game week 16, where Tony has Man City and the Newcastle lads have Chelsea. So outside that, I think actually up to the break
Tony's
now,
fixtures from this week are really strong. I mean, he's going to do well for you now.
Yeah, Villa.
My luck with Solanke is run out. That's not going to happen in the times to come. I don't think so. So
I hope not.
Yeah.
So look, happy enough. I think I'm pretty well set now, but we know it's felt like that for weeks, and there's been injury after rotation after blank after whatever. So I'm just hoping that things start to come together. But Bakar, let's look at your team for this game week. This is how you've done this game week so far. You've still got Mitrovic and Andreas to play, but you're sitting on 42 points. You're doing better than me. Bit of a green arrow.
Solid return. I mean, I can't really complain. The Newcastle clean sheet yesterday was huge again. I mean, it's a decent return. I would have taken it before the start of the week had you offered that to me.
And you said you reckon a return's on the cards for Mitrovic later. Andreas has been playing all right too.
Yeah, I mean, but I still don't trust Andreas that much. He's a bit random with his return. So, I mean, Mitrovic is the one I can sort of safely bank on.
And if we have a look at you for next week, I'm just going to pull up my team. It's just your team exactly as you have it built. So maybe you can tell me what you're thinking of doing, and I'll get it popped in.
I'm thinking of Trossard to Foden is likely to be my transfer. Um, Foden is rising in price tonight, so I might as well make that move tonight. That looks like the move to make for me. Um, on top of that, I can potentially sell Perisic for Trent if we get news on Saturday that Trent is starting. But again, that depends on that news because I'm not really sure whether I will make that move. I have Gehi playing right now. I won't be playing Perisic. I simply don't think he's going to start, and I don't want to risk a one pointer. At least Crystal Palace have a decent chance of a clean sheet, so I don't mind playing Gehi if needed. But yeah, I mean, this is my team, and this is likely to be my transfer. If we get news that Trent is starting, then I might move Perisic to Trent and bench Gehi. But Trossard to Foden is almost certainly likely to happen.
So how would your bench look there? Is that Perisic, Andreas, and Nico Williams?
Yeah, Andres would be first up, Perisic second, Neko third. And
Cool.
the alternative to this is that I can actually move Solanke to Darwin this week if we get news that Darwin is starting. And I don't really mind that as well. But again, the problem with that is that I'll have to sort of forego Foden. And I'm not really sure whether I want to do that.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know what it is about Darwin. I don't know. I don't know. I feel I just don't know about Liverpool as a whole this season. You know, they flatter to deceive. They're winning big games and they're losing this and they're doing this and they've got a 9-0 here and a 7-1 there, but then they'll concede in the first 2 minutes and I don't know. I'm just so confused about them. I think they're like, do you remember like in seasons gone by, there's teams like United, you know, they go through a wee phase where you're like, oh yeah, we want United guys, and then like they're crap for a while and you don't want them. I just feel like Liverpool have went from being like a star, like blue chip, to just like really inconsistent and annoying, and it just I just look at Darwin now and I'm not even excited.
They're a bit flaky this season, but still, I mean, given the fixtures, I'd still expect them to do really well.
I know. But I mean, I'd rather Foden than Darwin if that was the decision choice. But then I suppose that's not necessarily the question. The question's more Trossard and Darwin or Solanke and Foden, isn't it? For you, or even the Trent comes into your picture too.
Yeah. But it's basically Trossard, or because I don't think I'll play Trossard. I'll play Andres. So it's basically Andres and Darwin versus let's say Foden and Solanke. So I do think that the latter is possibly better.
So 62 predicted points, game week rating of 87% if we're set up with the Trossard to Foden move. Yay, nay, happy?
Yeah.
Would you take it?
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable return.
If we have a look ahead to game week 14, you're looking pretty good as well. Your fixtures are looking nice. No one there really has a fixture you wouldn't want. Solanke against Tottenham, maybe. But I suppose you have Perisic there and Andres, and you'll probably be making another move. And then once we get to about 15, again, you're set up pretty nice. But, Martinelli does have Chelsea. Salah has Spurs. Mitrovic has City. Maybe a couple of tough ones there, but a lot can change between now and then. And then for the last game week before the break, you have a few nice fixtures too. So
we're reaching that stage, John, where we've got to take each week in isolation and just go for punts every single week. Go for the upside, chase the upside. That's the stage we're reaching.
Yeah. It's only a few weeks to go. Picture it like the end of the season, because it is essentially the end of this mini season that we've played. But Bakar, will we do some quick fire questions?
Sure.
So for everyone watching, we need your help. We need you to put in questions so Bakar can try and break records. Put in A or B style questions, aka Saka or Foden. You know the answer already. Or put in yes or no, like should I do this? Should I do that? Try and keep them short and snappy. They're more likely to get answered. And Bakar's going to try and answer as many as he can in 5 minutes. And I'll tell you this, the record is 53. Drop a like while you're here. Do us a big favour and do that. And subscribe to Fantasy Football Hub. Loads and loads of videos. And then there's another 2 streams coming out before the deadline. And maybe another piece of content as well. So, I'm going to get my timer ready while the questions start to come in. And Bakar, how are you feeling today? Do you think you're going to be ruthless? As in, do you think like you're gonna go for the record?
If I don't do well, I'm just gonna blame it on you for being slow and asking repetitive questions. And
if I ask you a question you've been asked before, just answer it again.
Okay, done. Let's go.
Because sometimes they will. Everyone's going to be asking Zaha or Saka, Foden or Saka, Martinelli or Zaha, Saka or Jesus. That's where it's going to come here. I'm just going to try and set records with you, Bakar. So tell us this before we get started. Are you going to try and set a record, or are you going to try and give context? Because they don't go hand in hand.
I'll probably I'll probably help with context, to be fair.
Oh, I love you seeing you trying to set a record. All right, let's see. Are you ready to rock?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
I should get a timer on the screen for this next week. Might try and do that. All right, so Salah or Darwin on wildcard.
Darwin.
Early Foden transfer for Trossard.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Zaha or Saka.
If you have Zaha, you keep him.
Kane to Darwin for a -4.
I won't.
Ben White or Tomiyasu.
Ben White.
Perisic to TAA or Robbo.
If both are starting, then Trent.
Darwin for Aubameyang for a -4.
Yeah, I'd do it.
-4 to get Foden.
I would do it.
Start Madison or Wilson.
Wilson against Spurs. Mad start Madison.
Zaha to Saka in Gameweek 14.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Zaha to Saka next week.
Next week. I mean, ask that to me next week, not this week.
Captain Salah or Haaland.
Haaland, obviously.
Paqueta to Saka or Perisic to Trent.
I would sell Paqueta. I just don't think he's a FPL option.
Darwin or Jesus.
Darwin.
Saka or Jesus.
Saka.
Van Dijk, yay or nay.
No.
Wilson and Saka or Zaha and Jesus.
Zaha and Jesus.
White or Gomez.
White, I think. More
Firmino
nailed.
or Darwin for minutes.
Darwin.
Perisic to Gabriel for a -4.
No, I won't do it.
Mitrovic to Saka for a -4 or Mitrovic to Jesus for free.
I would keep Mitrovic.
Don't know how that works. Mount to Foden or Trossard to Foden.
Trossard to Foden.
Zaha and Trossard out for Foden and Saka for a -4.
I won't sell Zaha to Saka for -4.
Firmino or Tony.
Tony.
Son to Salah for a -4.
I would. I don't know. Without the captaincy, I'm not as certain about this move. Probably not.
Aubameyang to Darwin.
Yes, of course.
Sell Tony if he picks up a 5th yellow card.
Obviously.
Darwin and Foden or Salah and Solanke.
Darwin and Foden.
Doherty or Guehi.
This week, Gahi. I don't think the Spurs wingbacks are going to start.
Eze or Zaha.
Zaha.
Pope or Kepa.
Probably Pope because Chelsea's fixtures are tough.
Salah or KDB.
Salah.
Anderson to Ben Mee.
No.
Salah to Foden and Kane to Nunez for a -4.
I wouldn't go there. Too risky.
Start Billing or Andreas.
Andreas.
Mount or Rashford.
Rashford.
Jesus or Tony.
Tony.
Anderson, Zuma or Cody.
Anderson, Zuma or Cody. Zuma for the fixture.
Bowen for Saka.
No.
Start Guehi or Tony.
Tony. Got to start the striker.
Wilson or Mitrovic.
Mitrovic.
Anthony Gordon or Andreas.
Andreas. I'd probably go with Gordon actually.
White
Home
Gabriel
fixture.
or Saliba.
I prefer Gabriel for his goal threat, but if funds are an issue, then I don't mind going Ben White at 4.5. Excellent value.
Sterling to Saka for a -4.
I'd probably do it. Yeah, Sterling's just gonna get rotated.
Fabianski or Pickford.
Fabianski.
Emerson or Perisic.
Probably
Who's starting?
Perisic. Oh,
Okay.
Emerson will start, I think.
Okay.
Emerson Royale, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Salah or Foden?
What sort of a question is that, Salah Foden?
Okay, that's the answer.
What sort of a question? What is the context?
Just which one do you pick?
Foden, probably.
Well, there we go. Madison, Mount, or Eze? Who you benching?
Madison, Mount, or Eze. I'd bench Eze.
I give you 5 minutes and 12 seconds by mistake. So, you got, how many questions do you think you did there, Bakar? Did that feel like a fast pace?
It was okay. It was reasonable. I think around 40 to 45.
You got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 41.
Yeah, I was right in my
You
estimate.
estimated right. Well done.
Yeah.
So, Bakar, this week, best of luck. Best of luck tonight with your Andreas and
Everyone
Mitrovic.
like the video, please.
Let's go and, before they leave, like this bloody video. And you
Yes, please.
Bakar cries. You see, for every person who doesn't like, Bakar cries for 1 second longer. 800 people here. See if we've got... Bakar, I swear to God, I don't want you crying for longer than like 3 minutes. How many people liked it?
How many likes do you have,
123! That's like 700 seconds of crying for Bakar. Do you want to see that face crying? Dear goodness me. Like the video on the way out, guys. Do us a big favour and subscribe to the channel. Bakar will be back next week.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
We'll be back. Alright. Go and...
Hopefully on the back of another green arrow.
Green arrows everywhere. I'm going to be sub 1 million next time they see me. I'm going to be sitting around 850k sipping pina coladas on stream. And you're going to be sitting 250k, Bakar. I can feel it in my plums.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Let's see. I wonder, before we go, let's praise them if they listened. And in fairness, we're up around 200 now. Fair play. All right, guys.
Amazing.